See, and I'm not saying I'm better or anything. I'm not. I'm actually the opposite. I study natural science, or natural things. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff, to me, that comes naturally. I don't consider, someone's gonna criticize me. This is usually a music channel. I don't usually go off on these rants. It does have to do, but usually when I get off topic on my channel, it does have to connect to music. And oops, sorry if you heard that. I'm in the car now. Usually when I make these videos, I try to make it to where it's still connected to my music in some kind of fucking way, right? So I'm not trying to piss anyone off. Someone's going to critique what I'm about to say. Computers, to me, and technology, they're not natural. You know what I mean? You could argue they're made out of, they could maybe be made out of natural things or whatever, but they're not. They don't come from nature. You know what I mean? Computers, I don't know. You know what I mean? You could try to argue, well, everything comes from nature, or yeah, maybe the pieces of it and stuff like that, the metal and stuff like that, like everything comes from nature, we're born out of nature, or I don't know. I don't know. I failed school, so I don't even know what I'm talking about here. But basically, what I'm trying to say is the computer itself in its entirety is not a natural thing. You're not going to see a laptop growing in a field, is basically what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? Because people could be like, well, what about a wooden table? Wooden table is not natural, but the wood is. Yeah, the wood is, but not the table. Yeah, you could see wood, trees growing, things like this wood in nature. I get it. But the table, you're not going to see tables growing in fields, but it's basically what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? I study natural sciences. Sciences. You know what I mean? It just comes natural to me. For the longest time, I said, I'm not STEM. I'm not STEM. Well, I don't have a STEM job, but technically, some of the stuff I study is STEM. I just didn't want to consider it for some odd reason. I don't know if psychology counts as STEM. There's some a little bit debate. Well, there's some debate about that, with psychiatry. Psychiatry specifically. Is psychiatry even a science? It's a little bit of debate about that. I don't want to get into all that, because people could say, yeah, because medication and stuff like that. But then a lot of people say no, because there's no brain scans, to my knowledge, that can show you have autism or ADHD. This PET scan, I think there is maybe. Again, I have a lot of the things I'm saying is not factual. It's just kind of I don't know. It's a kind of a I don't know kind of a thing. I've seen PET scans of people's brains for autism and depression and being a psychopath. I've seen I think there's PET scans for that, and schizophrenia. I think there is brain scans for mental disorders. I think there is, but we don't use them to diagnose usually. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of confusing to me, because me personally, I'm not I don't study brain scans specifically. That's not really my field of area of interest and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to get at is, usually when we diagnose autism and schizophrenia, we don't do brain scans for that usually. You know what I mean? Is what I'm trying to get at. They go over a fucking checklist basically and say, well, yeah. But there's no true brain scans, to my knowledge, that can prove you actually have autism or schizophrenia, to my knowledge, because like I said, there is kind of conflicting information that some people say there is, what I said, there's some people that say there is not at all. And then, sorry, I didn't fart or anything. My knee was leaning against something. Then there's people that say, well, there technically is, evidence that you could have autism because of PET scans on brain scans and schizophrenia. The ventricles, I think, are larger in people with schizophrenia, I think. And for psychopaths, the amygdala, it's harder for me to say, is not working properly in psychopaths and sociopaths. But I don't want to harp on that too much. It's because, again, I don't study brain scans, so not even I know that type of stuff. I'm in the car filming. But what I'm trying to get at is that, sorry if you hear the bugs and stuff. I just got to get some fresh air. I'm recording in the car because I live with my parents once again, and they're making noise, and it's daytime, and just, I don't know. So yeah, you might hear stuff in the background. I apologize, but I don't know. What I'm trying to get at is that this is my kind of science. This is the stuff that I study. Physical health, studying physical health is definitely a science. Like studying physical health disorders, like I thought I had Marfan syndrome, and really, like, you know, like like a lot of the disorders that I'm diagnosed with, both mentally and physically, a lot of them have been proven. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's funny how these people on the internet say you gotta watch out for Dr. Google. You have to watch out for Dr. Google. You have to not base your, you know, you shouldn't be self-diagnosing or whatever. You should watch what you read on the internet. You don't want to lead to hypochondria, whatever kind of downward. Sorry, the leaves are falling from the tree. I'm in a car that's underneath a tree, so I'm sorry if you hear leaves falling. What I'm trying to get at is that they say, watch out for hypochondria on the internet and researching what's wrong with you. But I find that funny people say that because Dr. Google has actually helped me. You know what I mean? Like, Google has actually helped me. And I'm not just saying that because I'm using Google, I have a Google account and I'm using YouTube. I'm not just saying that. I really do mean it. That Google has really helped me. I never self-diagnosed, but I've always pondered what's wrong with me mentally and physically. And I'd say about like 75% of the diagnoses that I have now are like I was right. Like, basically what I'm trying to get at is that, I suspected I might have Marfan syndrome. I was kind of right with that. I have homocystinuria, which is kind of close, you know what I mean? Causes a Marfan-like body, Marfan-like body. I know I'm kind of trailing off topic here when this is supposed to be about furries and my music, and I'm kind of going all over the place, but, I guess I had at least one personality disorder. I thought it was schizotypal. One doctor he didn't say I had it. He didn't say I didn't have it. He just leaned more towards avoidant personality for some reason. And I kind of relate to that diagnosis, but not really, because I don't really put myself down, and I blame other people for my problems. There is diagnoses that I don't agree with, and there's diagnoses that I do think that I have, but doctors just don't want to give me it for some odd reason. I don't know if it's because they think I'm a hypochondriac. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that I guessed a lot. Like, I guessed a lot. I guessed a lot of, like, Raynaud syndrome, my skin changing, Raynaud syndrome. I guessed I had that. I guess my headaches, kind of, in a way. I mean, the doctor didn't say I had this, but he wrote down on my notes, because I have internet on the internet. I can log into my medical stuff. He wrote down, patient seems to have SUNCT type of headaches. SUNT, which stands for short unilateral nealgiform with conjective nose tearing or nose running, or I don't know, whatever, right? It's a rare form of headache, and I was suspecting I might have that because I have these short-lasting ice pick headaches, and I was kind of right about that. Just basically what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of the research I'm doing as to what's wrong with me and just these disorders in general, I'm getting proven right a lot of the times when I go to these doctors. I guessed I might have blepharospasm, which is my eyes shutting. I guessed that, and I was correct. Because I asked the doctor, is there a name for why my eyes are shutting randomly and twitching? He's like, yeah, it's called blepharospasm. And I said in my head, yeah, I kind of figured. Basically, I'm very good at studying disorders. I get it right. You know what I mean? For myself. Again, sometimes I've gotten it wrong. One time I thought I had a heart attack when really it was acid reflux. I went to the hospital for nothing, but So this is where my science comes in. My furry, I know this is not a furry character, but this is where my scientific brainiac mind comes in. It started with psychology because I started having mental issues first. Because I never really had physical illness issues or physical issues in general. I never really. The only physical issue that I always kind of had was being very thin. Like I always had issues gaining weight, but I never really had chronic pain or weird twitching until later on. And then that's when I transitioned into studying physical health. I still study the mental health, but yeah, whatever. So that's what I'm trying to get at when I say, stuff, like when it goes back to the whole, let's get back to my music and the furry stuff, because people are just like, well, what does this have to, it's going to be like a very long video to edit. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of it. Basically, in a nutshell, there's a lot of videos. Let me put this away. Hold on. Sorry about my hiccups. All right. There's a lot of videos. There's a lot of posts. Reddit, whatever you want to call it. Right? About how us furries are into IT STEM type of jobs, fields, whatever you want to call it. And I hate to break it to you, but some of us are not. Some of us have average jobs, average skills, average talents. And in fact, I'd say a lot, if not most people that are furries, a lot, if not most of us, don't have fursuits. And the reason why we don't have fursuits is because we don't have a well-paying job. Now, again, not having a well-paying job could be due to various different factors. It doesn't necessarily mean you have low skills. Maybe you just can't find that job in your area, or maybe you got rejected in a job interview, or it could be any fucking, like, there's other reasons to not have a well-paying job, to not have one other than, I have the skills or I don't have the skills. There's other reasons, right? Why you can't be a rock star, or why you can't be a fucking scientist or whatever. Maybe you're physically ill. Maybe your physical illness or mental illness is preventing you from getting those jobs. It could be a whole plethora of reasons, right? What I'm trying to get at is that, and this should be obvious. People are going to say this is obvious, Johnnyism. There's no point in mention. When I say, and get ready, we come in all different fields of walks of life. And I know people are going to stop and say, dude, you could say that about anything. You could say that about anime fans. You could say that about autistic people. You can say that about schizophrenic people. You could say that about anybody, any gender, any whatever. That logic applies to any field. I know, but some people kind of fucking forget that. But some of us do. Just have normal fucking jobs, normal fucking interest. No, not. See, got myself right there. Some of us just have normal fucking jobs and normal fucking skills is what I'm trying to get at. Oh. Sorry, someone was talking. And I had to close my door because someone was talking. Yeah, sorry, someone was talking on the whatever the fuck that was outside. Sometimes I doubt that I am a furry because, do I have a persona? Like there's a thing called there's your persona. Like you're like, you know what I mean? But there's a thing in the furry community called a fursona, which is like a play on words for being a furry and having a persona. I technically do have one. His name is Johnny, which is basically my nickname for my actual name, which is Jonathan. Now, a lot of people are going to get confused because I don't want to get off topic here, but people are going to be like, when most people call you Johnny, right? Are they referring to you as a furry in your furry mode, or are they referring to you as your human? Because I go by both names for both. Usually when people call me Johnny, both in real life and online, they're referring to like me, like my actual human self, right? Like 99% of the time. The only time it's not is when I clarify that I'm in furry mode right now, basically. You know what I mean? And my persona, have I made an artwork of the character? Kind of. I mean, I've made multiple different personas over the years, and I never really settled on which one is truly me. I guess you could argue the Furry Failure album cover could be technically me in a way, even though it's kind of a ripoff of Claire from The Summoning, if you know what that... if you just have to Google Claire and The Summoning on YouTube to know what I'm talking about. Don't Google it on YouTube because apparently people... I mean... No, do you YouTube, like, it's safe to use, YouTube searching it is fine. It's just Googling searching it might not be fine because apparently, you know, someone out there made a not suitable for work fan animation about that series. It was a one-off episode series or whatever, a cartoon, whatever, that never really like blew up. Whatever, I don't want to get off topic about that, but basically, like, my persona is like kind of a ripoff of that character. But I've made other characters, so I can't really like decide which one is actually me. I guess they're all just me, I guess. Morphing into different, because I made one that looks kind of like Angel Dust with a bottle in his hand called Bottoms Up. I've made a song called Bottoms Up where it kind of looks like Angel Dust, kind of like in a way. So I haven't really settled on what my persona truly is looking like, but it doesn't matter because the point of the video before it gets fucking 30 to 50 minutes long is that, you know, I understand the stereotype because furries are like, you know, like, or geeks or nerds or whatever, and geeks and nerds gets tied into IT STEM stuff, and IT STEM stuff connects to autism, and it's just it's like it's that snake eating itself kind of a thing. The whole thing kind of loops back into one another where the snake is eating itself. It's kind of like, you know, I gotta keep my voice down, but it's kind of like it's kind of like, you know, like, what is that, a boreal, like, not aurora borealis, but, you know, whatever that fucking thing is called. It's kind of like the Ouroboros thing. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's the snake eating itself. It's basically the snake voring itself. If you don't know what vor is, VORE, my friend thought it was vomiting and gore. One of my friends actually thought it was vomiting and gore, like mixed together. That's not what vor is. Vor is when a character eats another character, because it's like get it, like carnivore. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You get it? Like, you get what I'm talking about, you know? Um, but I'm personally not really into that fetish. I'll get into fetishes in a moment, but I'm not personally necessarily into that myself. Um, and I understand there is a connection, and, you know, I thought I kind of did fit into that. Like, I'm not trying to sound you know, or any, like, schizo. My mental health history is very complex on how to, like, diagnose me, you know? But I am somewhat kind of on the schizo spectrum, I guess you could say. You know, I don't hear voices often, you know, but, you know, I thought I had schizotypal personality, but doctors just, they don't think I have that. I was diagnosed with schizoaffective. I don't know if that's accurate because I don't hear voices often, but, you know. I'm really delusional, though, and one of the things I believe in is a simulation theory. Like, I believe we might be in a simulation, or at least something similar to a simulation, because I'm not trying to be offensive here or anything, but when I see stereotypes and connections like this, like, there truly is, like, a connection between some of these things or all of these things, and get ready for what I'm about to say. Being a neurodivergent, specifically autistic, femboy furry. Like, there's like a connection between being like all three. Like what I said in the beginning of the video. And it doesn't have to be autism, it could just be neurodivergence in some kind of way. Like, there seems to be like a connection between that. Like, now, obviously, sorry if you hear things moving, I'm like playing around with my glasses here, my sunglasses. So sorry if you hear me shuffling and making noise and stuff like that. It may not be true for everybody. Some people are just, they're not the, like, you know what I mean? Like I said, again, the autistic femboy furry stereotype, you know. Some people might not have the femboy. They might not fit into that. They're an autistic furry, but they're not a femboy. They're an average boy, or a masculine boy, or a gender fluid person, or a woman. They were born a woman, or they're a trans woman, or like, whatever. Like, they're a trans woman, autistic furry, or they're autistic and trans, or they're autistic and a furry, or they're furry autistic. Oh, like, there's different combinations with the three. Yeah, I don't want to go through all of them, right? My cat's looking out the window right now. um, yeah, you could do any of the combinations you want. Some people are just autistic. Some people are just furries. Whatever. But, you know, and I thought I fitted into this. But then I realized, no. Well, I definitely don't fit into the fourth category, which is IT. I'm not good with computers as a whole, really. I taught myself how to do HTML and CSS, but I don't know if that would be considered programming. That's front end stuff. I've even seen some fucking people on internet forums saying is front end development dying. I've seen at least 2 people on the internet questioning that. And I can't really say that much on the matter because I don't know that much about computers. But what I'm trying to get at is that I'm getting way too off topic here. Some of us are good. Some of us furries are mathematicians. Some of us work in other scientific fields. Some of us work in NASA. Some of us work for the government. Some of us are cops. Some of us are actually the funny thing about this IT STEM stereotype, or this IT stereotype when it comes to furries, or specifically furries. I don't want to get off topic about the autistic stereotypes and the femboy stereotypes. That's a completely another video. I'm mostly fixating on the furry shit, right? Not literally, unless you're into it. I heard a lot of fucking stereotypes that a lot of us furries are in the military, or the Marines, or whatever you want to call it, right? Something in that area, Some of us are in the military, the Army, or the Navy, or the Marine, or whatever you want, like something in that, whatever. The physical, gotta go out there and do stuff kind of like fields, And I never see fucking videos talking about this stereotype. The fucking 5-finger death punch stereotype that everyone that listens to 5-finger death punch works for is in the military or in the army, or there's a stereotype when it comes to that band. I'm not big into that band, but there's a stereotype when it comes to, I like 5-finger death punch, but it doesn't mean I drink Monster every day and I have testicles hanging from my truck and I'm a masculine guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's some stupid stereotypes out there. Even when it comes to listening to music. Like Marilyn Manson, like, well, all goth, which isn't true. Not all of us are goth. Some of us dress normally. Some of us dress alternative. Some of us are teenagers. Some of us are older. Like, there's a lot of stereotypes of a million different things. And this is why, to get back to my music, I made the Stereotype song. I made the Stereotype song saying, there's jocks with their jerseys, and it's just the same shit. And I want to hear new stuff. I want to hear, not new stereotypes, but I want to hear, I don't know if I have OCD, but sometimes I like reassuring myself that you don't need to work in IT STEM to be a furry. Because I really tried purging myself of being a furry because of these stereotypes. And all the controversies as well, like us furries are horrible people, apparently. That's been spread around for years, actually, that stereotype or that myth, especially with and I don't want to get too detailed with this because it's very controversial, but especially with that one psycho recently, the whole Charlie Kirk thing with the owo shit, which I was really pissed off that he made a furry reference on the news, because I was getting a little bit paranoid for a second, saying, is the news going to target furries now? Are they going to target furries? And the good thing is, a lot of the news outlets, they're not targeting furries. That's the good thing. And second of all, I don't want to harp on that situation too much. With the Charlie Kirk thing, when the sociopath did what he did, and he said, oh, whoa, what's this, or whatever. And the news talked about it multiple times, might I add. They didn't blame furries. I'm glad, because the whole blaming video games thing all over again, which is a completely different topic, whatever. They didn't blame furries. And just the thing about the news outlets trying to explain what OWO means, OWO, and what's this, and notices bulge, and all that shit. The funny thing about them explaining it is they did a half-assed job explaining what that meme even means, because not once did I hear them say it's a furry reference. It's a reference to furries. Furries are these anthropomorphic animal characters, and people that like them are also called furries. A lot of the news outlets didn't even get that right. A lot of the news outlets lately that I've heard, they described, oh, whoa, what's this, as a trolling tactic, which is kind of true, but not the full story. The OWO, the notices bulge, OWO, what's this, is to mock furries that were hypersexual freaks. Some of us are. myself included. But it's to mock us. Some of us do take it seriously, and some of us like actually type like that seriously, and then some of us even joke about it ourselves. Like some of us don't take it seriously, and some of us furries joke about it ourselves. But yeah, the notices bulge. Oh whoa, what's this? Is basically like I see your thing is poking out of your pants, basically. And it could be a gay thing. It doesn't have to be a gay thing. It could be a female furry saying that to a male furry. But whatever. But there's a lot of talk going on about furries recently, because of the whole Charlie Kirk thing. You know what I mean? It's a horrible situation that happened, but really, dude, I don't know if the guy is truly a furry. I don't know. I don't know what's true about that case. I heard rumors that his relationship partner is a furry themselves. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't really want to get into that, but I'm just sick of furries getting like bad name. Like we're getting bad names, and we're just whatever. I'm trying to keep my voice down and shit like that. But I have to open up the car a little bit, I guess, to get some air. So I gotta keep my voice down and shit like that. Sorry if this is gonna be an hour long. It probably will. A lot of this really didn't have to do that much about my music. Hopefully someone will watch this. So if you hear the crickets cricking and stuff like that, I just gotta get some fucking breath of fresh air for a moment. People could be like, well, what does this have to do with your music? It has a lot to do with my music. Has a lot to do with my music. Sorry if I'm all muffly here. It's, why do I make these songs, basically? And I know that I sing goofy sometimes and funny, and maybe I should, sometimes my singing style doesn't actually match. Sometimes I do this stupid thing, I don't know why I do this, where I create a serious song. But I sing so goofy and exaggerated, and I don't know why I do it. Maybe from now on, when I make a serious song, try to sing like normally, or try to sing good. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? Because sometimes I sing like, I don't know why I do this. Like, I'm even thinking about making a song about my headaches, and I'm thinking about singing it in a goofy way, but not to be funny, but to be diverse and versatile in my singing style. You know what I mean? So I listen to System of a Down, and I listen to a lot of like stuff like that, where the very odd vocal delivery, and maybe I should just switch up my vocal delivery and make serious songs that have serious vocal delivery, because maybe that's why people are not taking my song seriously, because how I'm singing it sounds like a joke, and the title might sound like a joke, and the lyrics might sound like a joke, but really it's not. It just comes off as odd. Basically what I'm trying to say is my music is trying to sound serious, but it just comes off as odd, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't think it has anything to do with my autism. I just think it has to do with me me making my music weird. And that's the thing. To get back on my music, I think I said this before in one of my videos. The reason why I make weird music is because, well, sometimes I make weird music to be experimental and avant-garde and shit like that. But the main reason why I make weird music is actually because I don't even know music theory. A lot of times I'm just pressing random buttons, and then I edit it to make it sound good. I edit it so much, from minutes to hours sometimes, to make it actually sound good. Can't read notes, can't understand notes. Has nothing to do with tone deafness. I just can't comprehend music theory. Whatever. And so a lot of people could listen to my music and be like, dude, you say you're not good with computers and technology, but you are very good at, so people could say I'm very good at making music, or maybe not making music, maybe not with the notes, but maybe not with the harmony and the melody, but the melody, maybe not with the melody and the rhythm, but people could say I'm at least good with making glitchy music and editing music and making the edits and the glitches and the stuff. I will admit, this is the only thing that I'm good at, really, basically, when it comes to technology, is editing my music to make it glitchy. And there used to be like clipping noise. Like my old music used to have this clipping noise because I would edit it in Audacity, and I stopped doing that. and you don't hear that anymore. I'm good with pauses and transitions with songs and trying to connect the verse to the bridge to the melody to the chorus to the verse to the whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever. I know I just said a bunch of words right there. I'm good at editing that and shit like that, and I'm good at video editing, even though I don't go over the top with it, and I don't make MLG parodies, but I could if I wanted to. I used to make crazy over the top funny parodies back in the day of green screens, and my music videos, they're not green screen or anything, except for one video, I think, but my music videos is actually kind of evidence of this, actually. Even though most of my videos is just audio with a photo or just me talking, my music videos is kind of proof that I do have kind of like good editing skills, kind of, you know what I mean, with the effects and timing it right and everything, and what do I think like fits the mood or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, when it comes to my music, basically in a nutshell, is that a lot of my songs are serious. If you have issues determining what song I made is a joke and what's serious, like let me know. Like, is there a song that I made where you're kind of having issues like understanding, is this supposed to be for real? Is this a joke? Like, let me know. Like, let me know, so then I could either make a comment replying to you, or maybe I'll make a whole video about that specific song, or maybe I'll make a list of songs. If people list to me a bunch of songs that I've made, and they can't tell if it's serious or not, you know, either I'll make a video on that specific song, or I'll make a video on those specific songs. It depends. It depends on how many comments I get, or whatever, saying, was this song serious or were these songs serious? Maybe it doesn't even have to be 5 people naming 5 songs, or it doesn't have to be 5 people. It does not have to be 5 people asking me, like, it doesn't have to be one person saying, hey, is this song serious? And then another dude says, hey, is this song serious? It doesn't have to be that. It could be 5 people questioning 5 of my songs. It could be 2 people questioning 5 of my songs. It could be 5 people questioning 2. Like, it could be any, like, whatever. It depends on how many feedback I get from this, if I get any feedback from this. But I don't mind making a video dedicated to explaining one song or a couple songs or a whole entire fucking album or all of my music if you want me to. I don't know. Because I understand. I understand that some of my music is, the titles could be a little bit off-putting, not too crazy, but the lyrics could be sometimes off-putting, but I wouldn't consider them too crazy. And my vocal delivery is kind of odd. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like System of a Down, or, it's kind of like Faith No More or Mr. Bungle, kind of like weird, kind of in a way, or it's kind of like Tool, kind of in a way, with my vocals. Well, Tool, his delivery is not odd, but it's, his delivery is not, I wouldn't say his delivery is odd. I take back what I said, but, I'm kind of like, I don't know, just let me know, because, like I said, I've made multiple songs about the whole, like, you could go on, if anyone could go on my channel and type in Furry, IT, STEM, whatever, and I've made multiple of these songs about, and also IQ, I've made songs about my IQ, and just, yeah, basically all of this shit, basically, of just, and it is what it is, And I don't know if you want me to wrap this up, probably because it's getting way too fucking long, but this is Johnnyism, and this is going to be a bitch to edit, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone's going to watch this whole thing, but let me know if you want a part 2, if I missed anything. Just to recap, I was diagnosed with autism before it was cool, basically, not, I know, having autism, I know for some people it's not cool, but it just to harp on that for a little bit, the whole Sheldon Cooper programmer sock thing is, it might be true for people that are watching this, but it's not for me. There has to be someone out there like me that relates to this. I know my friend Corey, I used to have a friend their name used to be Corey, but they're transitioning to change it to Corrine, Corrine. You know, they kind of fit this stereotype. I have to get out. I have to really get out now. Sorry about the winds. They fit the stereotype. They're autistic. They're IT. They're really good with computers. They have a low IQ. That's the odd thing, of 80 or whatever. And I think they're a furry. I don't know. I guess not really. So they kind of fit this stereotype, I guess. They have an average IQ or a low IQ. They were in a gifted program. They never told me until recently. And they're good with computers and stuff. So they kind of fit this autistic and furry stereotype kind of in a way. I have a friend. I have another friend. I guess I could say his name. He changed his username. But I guess I could say it. Well, I don't know if I would say his name, but okay, I'll say it. This is schizotypal guy that always talks about magical, colorful, pleasurable things. I guess I could. I don't know if he wants me to say his username. I won't say it I won't say his username in case he doesn't want me to. For whatever reason, I don't know why he would not want me to say his name, but I'm not. Whatever. But basically, he kind of fits the stereotype because his main disorder, in my honest opinion, the main disorder that he suffers from is schizotypal, because it really affects his speech. And I don't know if he agrees or disagrees with that, but this is just my opinion. Even if he doesn't consider schizotypal personality disorder his main disorder that he suffers from, it's at least one of the disorders he suffers from. And he also has autism and ADHD, this magical, pleasurable guy. He's very hard to talk to because it's really hard to understand his metaphors, and he sends me paragraphs sometimes when some of the things I say could just be replied in a simple sentence. Some things, okay, I don't want to talk about that. But basically, he kind of fits the stereotype. He's autistic, and he's good at programming, or he can do computer stuff, and he always talks about computer stuff. And they're just basically, in a nutshell, again, sorry about the crickets and shit like that. There has to be somebody like me that has, that has autism or that has some kind of neurodivergence and some kind of ADHD something. He also has ADHD. There has to be someone out there like me that's neurodivergent, mentally ill, something that doesn't work with computers or technology or at least has no knowledge in it or interest in it, basically. Same thing goes with the whole IQ thing. There has to be someone that's neurodivergent or mentally ill that has a low IQ on the internet, or at least average IQ. Like there just has to be, But I'm mainly focused on a neurodivergent person that's not knowledgeable in IT tech stuff. Like, at least with this video. Like, someone asked me, what bothers you more? Not being able to find someone that has an average IQ, low IQ that's neurodivergent? Is that what pisses you off more? Is not finding those people? Or not finding the people that's neurodivergent or mentally ill or whatever? It's hard to find those people that don't work in IT jobs, that have no knowledge or skills. Like, which one pisses me off more? I don't know, really. I want to say the tech stuff pisses me off more. That I can't find anybody out there that's neurodivergent, that's tech illiterate. Like, I want to say that pisses me off more. That I can't find anybody that like me that just can't do computers, that's neurodivergent. Like, that really does piss me off, that I seem to be the only autistic or schizo or whatever neurodivergent person that's tech illiterate. Like, that does, I know I'm truly not. I know there has to be someone out there, but it does kind of piss me off that I can't find someone like me that's kind of just, not smart with tech stuff that specifically is neurodivergent. Like, finding a autistic, ADHD, schizoaffective, like finding someone like with those disorders that's tech illiterate, trying to find someone that's tech illiterate that has those disorders, I can't find those people. Even though that does piss me off, it also kind of pisses me off with the whole IQ thing too. Like, there's a part of me that thinks that one pisses me off more because the higher IQ you have, the more shit that you can do. So there's probably someone out there that has a high IQ that can do IT stuff with mathematics, with engineering. Like they can do, they're fucking multi-talented fucking whatever. There's probably someone out there with an IQ of 150 that can do programming, front end, back end, fucking middle end, fucking, and they can do mathematics. And I used to know a guy like this actually. Fuck it, I'll name drop him because he was kind of a big YouTuber. Some guy 827 is his username, or I don't know, Stevie Wolf or Stevie Wolfie, I don't know what his name is. He used to make rants about Onision and shit like that, right? I don't mind mentioning him because he's not on YouTube anymore and he was kind of a big YouTuber. I think he had Asperger's to my knowledge. I think he did say that on a live stream. He was so smart when it came to music genres, bands. I think he did slash does have knowledge in IT computer crap, I think. He said he's very smart when it comes to philosophical stuff. He used to debate no, he used to make debunk. He used to make these debunking videos going against this philosopher, spiritual dude called Morg Official on YouTube. I don't know if you've heard about him, but he's some whatever, and some guy 827, or I think his username, I think that's what it was. He always knew what he was talking about, right? I don't know if he had a high IQ, but someone like that's knowledgeable in multiple different fucking fields that just so happens to have a high IQ, I think maybe that pisses me off more. Now again, not everyone with a high IQ can be talented in multiple fucking fields. Some of them are just talented in one fucking field like mathematics or engineering or whatever. Some of them are savants and have a low IQ, but they're talented and whatever. But basically, I'm trailing off topic way off here, and I have to say that this is going to be a very hard video to edit. I'm sick of the stereotypes. And one thing I want to add, and this might be a separate video within itself, but I don't want to make this video because this isn't really the YouTube channel for this type of topic and it's not really appropriate. But my question is, if you like not suitable for work, NSFW content or furry cartoon characters, does that in itself make you a furry? I really want to know. I don't know if anyone got this far to the video. Maybe I'll add timestamps, but could someone make that video answering my question? I guess this could be part of the video. Like, I don't know if I want to tag that, in my timestamp. I don't know if I want to put NSFW in my description or whatever, but this is a really valid question because, I don't want to say that the only reason why I'm a furry is because of the PORN. I don't want to say that's my only reason, because it's not true. It's not true. I like Hell of a Boss, Luna. I like Angel Dust from Has Been Hotel, even though he's a spider, which I don't know if that would be considered a furry, since spiders are not furry animals. But I like Ratchet and Clank. I like furry characters, but I like furry characters outside of NSFW. So it's inaccurate to say I'm only into it for the fetish, right? It's a little bit inaccurate to say that. But it is a large part of my attraction. You know what I mean? I'd say half the reason why I consider myself a furry, if not most of the reason why I consider myself a furry, is because I keep my voice down. I actually am attracted to these characters, you know what I mean? And even the people that wear the fursuits and whatever, which most people that wear the fursuits usually don't do it in the bedroom with the fursuits. Like most people don't, because that would just be a waste of money cleaning up the mess, But I'm attracted to Luna from Hell of a Boss. Like, there's images of her and shit like that on the internet, and I'm attracted to that. that's the main reason why I'm into it, or maybe not the main reason, but like half 50-50. It's half non-sexual interest and it's half sexual interest. But I started questioning, am I really a furry? Because I don't have a fursuit. My persona, I kind of have one, kind of. But I mainly look at the naughty images on the internet. So it's like, it's like it sounds like you just have a fetish though, you know. So it's like, and I've looked this up and I've gotten conflicting information. Some people say no, you just have a fetish. Other people say, well, yeah, if you wank it to a furry character, sounds like you're pretty fucking furry to me in some kind of capacity. So I get conflicting information. You know?